You do remember when Karen arrived, there was an affectionate greeting between John and Karen, right?
Yes.
You saw them kiss, right?
Yes.
You saw John put his arm around Karen?
Correct.
And you saw that Karen sort of nestled into his embrace?
Correct.
And when she did that, that's when he kissed her, correct?
Yes.
And they seemed happy to see each other, did they not?
They did.
That night they were affectionate?
Yes.
Laughing?
Yes.
Happy?
Yes.
Like a normal couple?
Yes.
No arguments?
No.
You witnessed no bickering, no tension, correct?
No.
R.I.P. to John O'Keefe, and condolences to anyone who loves him, know him, or even affected by this trial. And if you think, Karen Reed is guilty, watch to the end. And I beg you to sit there and present your arguments for what it is that I'm going to show you. The 5 reasons I feel prove she's being framed. Just like you, I was 51% convinced she's guilty. I'm like, she did it. She was mad at him. She was inebriated and she went overboard and now she should pay. I'm like, she has to pay. My wife was just, no, she didn't do it. And because she was so stuck on that stance, and I felt like it wasn't with good evidence, I felt more emboldened, like, nah, she's guilty. I had to do my own research. And then I realized I'm not someone who's that stubborn, who can't see like, wow, she's being framed. Like, they're framing her. And before I get to the 5 reasons Karen Reed is indeed being framed, I just want to get through the things that really don't matter. It's going to be arguments you're going to hear from both sides. And as standalones, they don't matter. In the comment section, I will explain why each and every one do not matter. I don't want to make this video too long because it's already long as it is. So let's watch.
Hold up.
Karen rummaging through John's house.
There was a knock at the door. And it was Karen, her father, and her brother asked if they could come in. And then he said, do you mind if we go upstairs and get a couple of her things? Which I never should have let them go up there. But at the time, I just couldn't think straight. And I really didn't have anybody else to help me keep them down in the kitchen. So I don't know what they got up there, what they did up there.
And she didn't give condolences to Miss O'Keefe.
Did you personally interact with the defendant?
Nope.
Was there any hugs, condolences?
Nope.
It doesn't matter.
Did you see them come back down?
No, I did not. When she went upstairs, that's the last I saw of her.
Did you see when she left?
Nope.
Did you ever see her Lexus in the driveway?
Nope.
John's niece claiming Karen was cold to her.
This niece of Officer John O'Keefe, he was raising her at the time of this incident. She talked about, in general, the coldness of the defendant, in her opinion. She was asked, how would it feel spending time with the defendant? She answered, it felt like coldness towards me. She was asked this, how often would you feel that? And she said, occasionally. She said, she was asked, did the defendant ever comfort you? She replied, no.
It doesn't matter.
And you're double.
Karen flirting with Brian Higgins.
Are you serious or messing with me? No, I'm serious. Feeling is mutual. Is that bad? How long have you thought that? Are you okay driving? You don't want to stay here? I am fine. I have an office at the PD. You didn't answer the question. Rather you stay here? I wish. I think you're messing with me. Why do you think that? Because this is so out of left field. Where did these feelings come from? I just think you're like me. I have always thought that about you. What? That you're hot, smart, witty. But I didn't think you were interested. Now what? I don't know. Shouldn't you know? Do you like me? Yes. From jump. When was jump? First time I saw you. When was that? Hillside for sure. When were you interested? I don't know. You're just my type. You think you can handle me? I thought you were happy. How do you know if I'm happy? I just assumed. I never get what I want, just what I need. I am okay. What do you need? What need to be content? What can I do to make you happy? Haha, don't worry. I've always been very happy. You talk in riddles. Just tell me why you contacted me, huh?
It does not matter.
Looking at the evidence that's presented in court, the lacerations, the bite marks that experts say come from an animal, a large dog, it just doesn't make any sense. None of it, none of it. Like everybody's so secretive when they were going to call certain things into evidence, like SIM cards, phones, they were destroyed on military bases. A cop died, a cop was killed. They want justice. They want to blame it on someone and say, this cop is getting justice. But I feel like something happened in that house. John O'Keefe went into that home and a fight broke out. And I don't think that they probably meant to kill him. But I feel like the cops are corrupt. I feel like there's just too many connections with that Canton Police Department. I think the judge needs to recuse herself. She's too biased. There's connections even with people within that group that were in that house. There's connections to the judge. So I think there's just too many coincidences. And unfortunately, Carrie Rita was just easier to blame. I just feel like there's just corruption happening and they just want to put it on someone. And Karen Reed, unfortunately, was the victim.
The judge seeming biased?
Next question, Mr. Jackson.
May I approach?
No. Next question.
Did you lie under oath, sir?
No, I did not.
Would you tell us if you did?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You acknowledge that there's a 22-second phone call in your phone records, correct?
That's what's reflected by the record.
And 22 seconds is quite an amount of time. Would you agree?
It's 22 seconds.
As a matter of fact, it's about this long, with the court's permission.
The court does not give permission. That's argument, Mr. Jackson.
She does not matter.
You were just asked about Brian Higgins in your interview with Brian Higgins. Where did that take place?
Higgins had his lawyer present when he was interviewed by Sergeant Buchanan.
And Sharon at an attorney's office.
At his lawyer's house, correct?
I'm not sure if he resides there, but it was an office.
With his lawyer present, correct?
Yes.
Did you find that unusual?
Objection.
Sustained.
He wasn't under arrest, correct?
No.
You hadn't read him his rights.
No need to know.
No need to, because he wasn't in custody, right?
Correct.
He was just a witness in a case that you're investigating.
That's correct.
But he asked that you interview him in his lawyer's presence, correct?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Jen McCabe supposedly deleting her message that she sent to John O'Keefe.
You saw a bunch of calls on John O'Keefe's phone, right? You know, he couldn't have deleted them. He passed away, right?
Correct.
You saw your cell phone extraction, which is the handshake for John O'Keefe's phone. And all of your calls are missing, right?
Objection.
Can you answer that question?
I'm confused. That paper, I don't understand it. It was vague. There were numbers. There were calls everywhere. There was a number of missing calls.
Did you delete any of your calls before you turned your phone into law enforcement?
I spoke with the two officers that I handed my phone over to, and I asked if I could delete the personal conversations with my daughters. And they said absolutely yes, that I could.
Where's the yes or no? I asked you a direct question, and you have to do all of that talking?
So other than calls with your daughters that you did you delete any other calls on your phone at all?
There were text messages. It was actually text messages with my daughters that I deleted, and that was all I deleted.
Did you delete any phone calls?
I do not recall deleting any phone calls at all. I would have no reason
Liars.
to delete anything.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
But that's very different than I didn't delete any phone calls. I do not remember deleting phone calls. Means you might have.
In day-to-day life, people delete things, but I do not recall deleting any phone calls.
In day-to-day life, did you delete any of the calls to John O'Keefe?
No.
Did you delete any of your calls with Nicole Albert?
No.
Did you delete any of your calls with Brian Albert?
No.
With Chris Albert?
No.
With Julie Albert?
No.
Colin Albert?
No.
With any of the witnesses in this case, did you delete any calls before you turned that phone over?
No. No.
Wait, when they said Colin Albert, the way she started sinking her seat is really telling and suspicious. And she gets on my nerves, by the way. But it does not matter. Wait till we get to the 5 things that I need an explanation for. I need the people that say she's guilty to explain it to me. If they can explain it to me where it makes sense and they're not just speaking conjecture, hypotheticals, and all that nonsense, hey, I can go back to my 51% because right now I am 98% certain she is being framed. Karen Reed.
Did you receive a message from your husband on the group? Quote, Julie said channel 4 is in DE. You see that?
Yes.
And the response from Matt McCabe is, quote, ask Chris to ask some questions. Tell them the guy never went in the house, end quote.
Her husband, Matt McCabe, messaged someone who wasn't even there to say, you know what? Let them know that John O'Keefe never went into the house.
Matt McCabe was directing Chris Albert. Chris Albert wasn't even at the house, was he?
Chris Albert was not at the house, no.
But this chat is Matt McCabe, your husband, telling Chris Albert, who was never at the house and would have no personal knowledge of what happened at the house, to specifically say, the guy never came in the house. The guy, by the way, being John O'Keefe. Right?
That's what he wrote.
Tell them he never went in the house was the story that had been concocted between and among this group of people on this chat, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
No. John never went in the house. It wasn't a story. It was the truth. And it is the truth.
Just like she said, I hit him.
Correct.
I didn't add it, but just like she said, I hit him was something Jen McCabe tried to accuse Karen Reed of saying. Before it was, could I have hit him? But later on, Jen McCabe changed her story to, she said she hit him 3 times. And it was like, but you never said that before. And it's like, I did say it. Other people heard. And one of the people who heard is a first responder who just listened to the lies. This Pinocchio gets on my last nerves. Listen to her.
In answer to that question, the open-ended question, who is Caitlin Albert, you didn't offer up in that first initial response, you didn't say we're friends, did you?
We're not.
You didn't say that we are in the same friend group, did you?
No.
You didn't say we've been friends since high school.
No.
You said, I went to high school with someone named Caitlin Albert, correct?
Yes.
Almost as if you just saw her name in a yearbook. Correct?
No, I don't agree with that.
That's not true, is it? I mean, that wouldn't be true, correct? Because you did know Caitlin Albert.
Caitlin Albert is someone who resides in the house, 34 Fairview, where John O'Keefe was found deceased. And she went to school with that girl, and he's going over their history, essentially. And she's just making it seem like, oh, someone I went to school with. But just listen, I cut this down dramatically, so the links will be down below so you can watch it yourself.
The reality is you did more with Caitlin Albert than simply go to the same school system, is that right?
Yes, that is true. And you asked me if I knew her, and I said yes. And you asked me if I'm friends with her, and I said I wouldn't say friends.
You wouldn't say friends.
Right.
Even as you sit here today, you would not say that you're friends with Caitlin Albert.
No.
You wouldn't say that you've been friends for years.
We've known each other for years.
That wasn't my question.
We've known each other for years, but we are not close friends. We don't have a relationship, just her one-on-one. It's just group settings.
You grew up in the same town together, correct?
We did.
Went to the same middle school together.
Correct.
Went to the same high school together.
Yes.
Socialized with her.
Yes.
You've taken day trips with her and others.
Yes.
You've taken beach trips with her and others.
Yes.
One of your best friends named Michaela actually lived with Caitlin Albert at college, didn't she?
Yes.
And you visited your best friend at that residence where she lived with Caitlin Albert on more than one occasion, didn't you?
Yeah, occasionally I would go to visit the friends that I had there.
You would even spend the night in the apartment with them, correct?
Maybe a handful of times, yes.
You've taken photographs with Caitlin Albert, correct?
I'm in pictures with her, yes.
You've been to baby showers with Caitlin Albert over the years.
I have attended a baby shower with her, yes.
Celebrations with her over the years. Correct?
After Ms. McCabe interjected and the defendant made those statements about hitting him, did you persist in getting more information, asking to clarify what she meant by I hit him?
No, I did not.
Did she say anything to you, in addition to the typical background information that you would try to obtain from somebody?
Yes.
What did she say?
She answered with a series of statements that she repeated. I hit him. I hit him. I didn't feel comfortable pushing and asking for more. I just didn't think that it was the right time for that. And it was also really not my place at that point. And I feel like that was something that the police that's more their role.
Asking follow-up questions about what she meant by I hit him, would that have helped your diagnosis and treatment of the man in any way?
It could have.
But you made the decision to stop asking her questions?
I did.
She gets on my nerves. But this guy equally gets on my nerves. He's a firefighter who also have a connection with people in that house.
So it always was a question, correct?
It was a question.
She never said what you said on cross-examination yesterday, which was she said that he had been out in the snow without a jacket on for many hours. That was not a declarative statement by Ms. Reed, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Was that a declarative statement by Ms. Reed?
She asked if he could be alive without a jacket in the snow for many hours.
So again, it was a question, sir.
Are you asking me to clarify whether she used the
I'm
word
not asking
sitting?
to clarify anything. I'm asking you whether that was the first time yesterday during direct examination that you mentioned that she asked about him sitting outside.
I'm sorry, I am very confused because I'm trying to figure out if he was being outside, sitting outside.
I'm asking you about Ms. Reed's statements, sir. That's all I've been asking you about. Her
Okay.
statements to you and your testimony about her statements to you. Was yesterday on direct examination the first time that you testified under oath that Ms. Reed mentions the words sitting outside?
I don't know.
All right.
I'm just using. She might have said laying outside, being outside, outside.
Okay, so when you testified yesterday before this jury
Yes.
that she mentioned the words sitting outside, you're now saying that that might not have been accurate, correct?
It could have been a different word.
Okay. But you didn't say it could have been a different word yesterday. You just left it as sitting outside, correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I said, sitting.
I'm bald-headed, so I shouldn't be talking, but this bald-head guy really gets on my nerves. But let me just go back to my police business, okay?
You said that you live near Kerry Roberts?
I do.
You've been to a block party for the kids where you've brought the fire engine down?
I do.
I'm going to allow it.
When you're at that block party, do you ever step out and have secret meetings with Kerry Roberts trying to corroborate some conspiracy on their behalf?
No.
I'm going to allow that.
No.
All of that I just showed you, it doesn't matter. But if you think Karen Reed is guilty, I would greatly appreciate it if you explained the 5 different situations I'm going to show you.
Do you have any sisters?
I do. I have one.
What's her name?
Juliana.
Is she older or younger than you?
She is younger.
Starting with number 1, Ryan Nagel's sister. She's extremely interesting within this whole situation. I mean, extremely interesting. I'll let you listen first, and then I'm going to state what I got to state.
I want you to take us back to January 29th, 2022. Do you remember what time you got the text from your sister?
Around midnight. I can't remember that far back.
You don't have a firm memory of it?
No, I do not, sir.
After you received the text from your sister, did your plan change?
Yes,
And what was the plan after you received the text from your sister?
to go pick her up.
Did you know where she was?
Yes, I did.
Where was she?
She was at her friend Brian's house.
Did you know the address?
Not off the top of my head, but I knew the street.
Did you know the house?
Yes.
Sir, do you recognize that address?
Yes, sir.
And what is that address?
It is 34 Fairview Road.
He was at the bar with his ex-girlfriend, Heather Maxon, and their friend Ricky. And his sister, who was at 34 Fairview Drive, messaged him, "Can you come pick me up?" And she knew he was with Ricky, and he was also with his ex-girlfriend. So she knew this. And Ryan and the group, they left to go pick her up. And listen to what happened.
Do you have any other purpose of going to that address other than to pick up your sister?
No, sir.
How long did it take you after you left to redirect and get to that address?
Probably roughly 5 to 7 minutes.
Do you know what time specifically you arrived at that address?
Right, a little before 12:30.
You have to admit, you arrived around 12:30?
Correct.
As you're driving down Cedar Crest, before you turn onto Fairview, did you see anything?
I saw a vehicle coming at us.
That vehicle was going to take a right onto Fairview?
Correct, sir.
And your vehicle was coming in the opposite direction?
Correct.
Where was your vehicle going?
Taking a left onto Fairview.
Did you both meet at that intersection?
Yes, roughly around the same time.
Who turned onto Fairview first?
The other vehicle.
Do you remember what kind of vehicle it was?
That was a black SUV.
When that car turned right onto Fairview, how long after did Ricky turn left onto Fairview?
Seconds.
When you came to the intersection at Fairview, and you said that the driver of your truck, Ricky, blinked his lights, could you see anything inside the SUV?
I wasn't really looking.
Okay. After that SUV turned right onto Fairview and Ricky turned left onto Fairview, who was in front of who?
The other vehicle was in front of us.
Was the other vehicle in front of you the entire time you saw it?
Yes, sir.
Did you wait before you got to Fairview, or did Ricky drive directly to Fairview after he took the left?
Well, he turned the left onto Fairview.
Okay. Did he wait, or did he drive directly to Fairview?
He drove directly there.
Okay. The car in front of you, did you ever see it move behind you in front of the driveway?
It was in front of me the whole time.
Okay. And so I'll ask the question again, did you ever see that SUV stop at the foot of the driveway?
No, but I did see the brake lights. It looked like it moved, but it wasn't. So the brake lights were on, they released them and then stopped again. So it probably moved another car length up.
How many times did you see the brake lights on?
Just once, sir.
After you stopped at the foot of the driveway, did you keep your attention on that SUV?
Not really, no. I was more concerned about my sister.
But you do know, or do you have any doubt that it was in front of you the entire time?
Yes, it was.
When you pulled to the driveway, did you go in to see your sister?
No.
What did you do?
I texted her saying we're here, and she came out, opened up the door. She looks at me and Rick and said, "Hey, do you guys want to come in? For a drink or whatever." And I looked at him, looked in the back seat, asked Heather. We said, "No, we're all set. We're going to go home." And so she decided to stay.
So the idea was to give her a ride home. You did not give her a ride home?
Correct, we did not.
Before your sister came out of the house, do you remember how long you waited for her?
Roughly 2 minutes.
Okay. In its entirety, how long was that truck parked at the foot of the driveway in front of Fairview?
Probably closer to 5 minutes, sir.
Hi, I'm Heather Maxon.
After you left the establishments, after they closed, did you go somewhere?
We went to pick Ryan's sister up, Julie, from a friend's house. She needed a ride.
Before the decision was made to go pick up Ryan's sister, were there other plans that you were...
No.
That was just the plan to
Yep.
go get her?
Yeah.
Do you remember generally or specifically what that was?
Late midnight.
Okay.
I did see inside the vehicle, yes.
Could you describe for the jury what you remember seeing?
I saw a male and a female inside the car.
Where was the female?
Female was driving and the male was in the passenger seat.
Was the male in the front passenger seat?
Yes.
When you arrived at that address, what happened next?
I believe Ryan had reached out to Julie saying, "We're here, time to go." And so she had come outside and we had a short conversation and she decided that she was actually going to stay at the house. She had invited us in, but I had said that I didn't want to go inside. I just wanted to go back to the house.
When you left, did you drive by the SUV?
We did.
When you drove by, what were you looking at?
My surroundings.
Okay. What did you see?
I saw the female that I saw beforehand, also still in the car,
Where did you see her?
in the driver's side.
Was there, at that point, any lights on inside the car?
There was, yes.
Which
The
light?
dome lights.
Was the driver's side door open?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you see anybody else inside the SUV?
I did not.
Was there anybody else inside the SUV?
Oh, so you didn't see anybody inside the car?
Besides the driver, no.
Okay, next question.
Do you know whether there was anybody else inside the SUV at that time other than the driver?
No.
So you were more focused on hopefully getting Julie in the car so you could leave than anything that was going on in the SUV, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Then Julie came out, and it wasn't as simple as her just jumping in the vehicle and leaving, correct?
Correct.
There had to be a,
Right.
right? And she came out to speak to the three of you for about 5 minutes or so,
I'd say.
like a back and forth about who's going where.
Yeah.
And when Ricky was pulling away, you looked over to the SUV and you saw that the interior light was lighting up the front compartment, correct?
Correct.
And it was then that you looked over and you saw a female in the driver's seat, correct?
Yes.
You did not see any person in the passenger seat, correct?
Correct.
And you certainly did not see a 6-foot-tall off-duty police officer in the SUV at any point on Fairview Road.
Correct.
When you were in the cabin of the car and Ricky was having a conversation with Julie, did you ever see anybody other than Julie come in or out of the house?
No.
When your sister went back up the driveway to go in the house, when was the next point you had any chance to see the SUV?
When we were passing it.
When you were passing the SUV, where was it located in relation to the house, flagpole?
Directly in front of the house.
Was it anywhere near the flagpole as you drove by?
Probably like a car length from that.
A car length from the flagpole?
Yes, give or take.
As you drove by that SUV, what was your primary focus?
My sister, sir. Like watching her get in.
You were being attentive to her getting in?
Correct, sir.
As you watched her get in, did you glance or see anything else in your vision as you were watching your sister go into the
I
house?
saw that there was a woman in the driver's seat of the black SUV in front of me, sitting there with her hands on the steering wheel at 10 and 2.
You saw the person in the SUV with their hands on the wheel. How did you see them inside the car?
Their dome light was on.
Do you know how a dome light comes on in a vehicle?
Yes, sir. Either you press it yourself or if there's a door open.
From when you first stopped at the driveway at Fairview until the point that you left and were no longer in front of that property, did you ever see any person get out of that SUV that was in front of you?
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see anybody, any man, ever cross the front yard towards that home?
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see any man ever enter or stand in that front door?
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see anybody walk across the front yard to the side door?
Objection. I'll allow it.
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see anybody enter that side door other than your sister?
No, I did not, sir.
As you were parked at the driveway the entire time, that generally 5-minute time, did you ever see anybody get out of the SUV and walk down the street towards the driveway?
Objection. I'll allow it.
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see anybody walk past your truck and up the driveway?
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see any person other than your sister outside of those vehicles the entire time that you were at Fairview?
Objection. I'll allow it.
No, I did not, sir.
Here's the question I have. If you believe she's guilty, around the same time they got to 34 Fairview Drive, Karen and John O'Keefe arrived, almost the same time. Why did his sister ask him to come get him? But when he got there, it was, oh, do you want to come in? And then she ended up not leaving. Why did she do that? And let me speculate a little bit. I just want to know, Could someone have told her to message them so they can come? So they can come over? So that we can throw blame on someone? And the reason I ask that is because Ricky and Ryan never entered the home. But what Brian Higgins said was,
During the course of that proceeding, you were asked who was in the house and who you saw come into the house, correct?
Yes.
And during the course of that testimony, you admitted that you observed a tall, dark-haired male enter the Albert house that night, correct?
I believe that was in reference to ask to somebody's brother in a pickup. I don't know if that was during.
All I'm asking you, Mr. Higgins, is did you say that? Did you say a tall, dark-haired male entered the house while you were there?
I said they might have.
Did you say they might have?
Yes. And that was in reference to somebody's brother.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Isn't it true that you indicated that a male showed up who may have been Julie Nagel's brother, correct?
I said might have, yes.
Right. But there was no question in your mind that a male did in fact show up, and you described him as tall and dark-haired, right?
Yes.
You were asked, a male showed up where? And you answered, quote, showed up at the house that I didn't know. I think he was there very briefly. I was half paying attention to it. Question, did that male come inside the house? Answer, I believe he did. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So you saw someone else come? Answer, somebody else. Yes, correct?
Yes, but I also said that I wasn't paying
Mr. Higgins,
attention.
I realize that you want to explain your answer. I've asked you a very simple question. Was that your testimony in front of another proceeding?
Yes, it was.
At another proceeding, which you were under oath?
Yes, it was.
Okay. You also said that you only remember seeing that person come in briefly, and it looked like he was having a conversation with the two girls, briefly, correct?
Yes.
You were asked how long was the person in there roughly, and you said it was quick. Less than a couple of minutes. I mean, it was quick, correct?
Yes.
And then you were asked what he looked like, and you said, I feel like they were a little bit taller. Maybe had dark hair, correct?
Yes.
So you testified that a tall, dark-haired male came into the house, at least briefly, in your testimony, correct?
Yes.
Approximately when in the timeline of events did that unidentified male enter the residence?
I don't know the time frame. It would have been while I was there.
please explain that. And that's not even the biggest one to me. That's just one of the ones where it is speculation, but hey, it makes no sense. Number 2, John O'Keefe's phone stated, it proved he took 34 steps towards the house, which is about 84 feet. He took.
Well, let's talk about you leaving. When you left the house, as you started to walk down the driveway toward your Jeep, how long of a walk is that? Across the yard to down the driveway to get to your Jeep?
Short.
30 feet?
Maybe.
Okay.
So when they try to say, oh, he was not inside the house, that's impossible. Because what Ryan Nagel and Heather Maxson said was,
You testified that you didn't see anybody get out of the SUV or approach the house, correct?
Correct.
You obviously don't know what did or didn't happen before you, Ricky, and Ryan arrived there, correct?
Correct.
does that make sense? They're all saying he didn't make it inside the house, but 34 steps and they were parked right in front of the house and nobody saw a male around her car? Please, if you think she's guilty, explain that to me. I would love for you to explain that.
From when you first stopped at the driveway at Fairview until the point that you left and were no longer in front of that property, did you ever see any person get out of that SUV that was in front of you?
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see anybody, any man, ever cross the front yard towards that home?
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see any man ever enter or stand in that front door?
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see anybody walk across the front yard to the side door?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see anybody enter that side door other than your sister?
No, I did not, sir.
As you were parked at the driveway the entire time, that generally 5-minute time, did you ever see anybody get out of the SUV and walk down the street towards the driveway?
I'll allow it.
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see anybody walk past your truck and up the driveway?
No, I did not, sir.
Did you ever see any person other than your sister outside of those vehicles the entire time that you were at Fairview?
I'll allow it.
No, I did not, sir.
From the time you first arrived at that address and until the time you left, did you ever see anybody get out of the SUV that was in front of the truck?
I did not.
Did you ever see anybody travel across the front yard to the doorway from that SUV?
Nope.
Did anybody ever walk by on the street, walk by the truck in front of you or behind your truck and walk on the driveway?
No. Well,
No.
besides Julie, sorry.
So Julie is the only person that you saw in the driveway that night?
Yes.
And then you left?
Yes.
Think about it. Around the time he was attacked is around the time that everyone got there. And of course they wouldn't see him exit the vehicle because they got there. Karen got there just a little bit before them. Like maybe less than a minute before them. She arrived. He immediately left the car, went inside. They didn't see her reverse. They didn't see her do any type of maneuvering, a 3-point turn. They didn't see that. So therefore, we could eliminate that's what she did because they did not see that happen. And then Brian Higgins left not long after that.
How long did you stay at the Albert residence in total? From the time you got there till the time you left?
Maybe like a half hour, less than an hour.
And what time did you leave? Say 12:30, you said?
I think I said between 12:30 and 1 a.m.
And you indicated that you pretty much didn't say goodbye to anybody, right?
At the house,
Correct.
I just kind of left. I said, see you later, turn around, left.
As a matter of fact, at that same hearing that we just looked at, your statement was, I made a beeline out of there, correct?
I don't know if that's the verbiage I used, but I left.
Why the rush? Why did you leave so quick?
He left the place, and he is a trained detective, supposedly, and he did not see a body, even though he was walking by where the body was supposed to be. Does that make sense?
Because it was a long day and I just wanted to go home.
Except you didn't go home, did you?
No, I went back to Canton PD.
Right. During the course of you walking out the door, heading to your Jeep, you didn't see anything out of the ordinary in the yard, correct?
No,
You certainly didn't see a body in the yard.
of course not.
Now, you get in your car, and it's facing directly toward the flagpole, correct?
It's facing directly up the street. The flagpole would be off to the 1 o'clock.
Right. So just a few degrees off to the right, the flagpole is, correct?
It's off to the right.
Just a few degrees.
I don't know how many degrees, but it's off to the right.
Well, you just said 1 o'clock. You're
Yes.
a former military guy, right?
I am.
Okay. 1 o'clock means 1 o'clock on a watch. 12 o'clock is due north, or right in front of you. 1 o'clock is just a few degrees to the right, correct? That's what you meant.
At the 1 o'clock, yes.
Okay. So you didn't see a body when you got in your Jeep.
No, I did not.
Then you turned the engine on, correct?
And the wipers, yes.
And the lights.
Yes.
And the lights lit up everything in front of you, correct?
Yes.
Still didn't see a body, did you?
No, I did not.
Sitting in the driver's seat, you put the car in gear and you begin to roll forward, right?
Yes.
But there was a plow on the ground that scraped for a foot, right?
Yes.
So you picked it back up,
Yes.
looked out the windshield to make sure the plow was situated, and continued to roll forward, correct?
I knew it was up when I continued to drive.
And as you continue to drive, you're looking ahead of you and probably to your left to make sure that there's no oncoming cars, right?
Well, I knew there was no oncoming cars. I was just driving forward.
Right. So your focus is directly in front of you.
On the road, yes.
And everything in your peripheral vision is right in front of you as well, correct?
Yes.
Nothing obstructing your view.
I mean, other than snow on the car.
Nothing obstructing your view outside toward the lawn. Wasn't another car parked there.
No, I didn't. There was no vehicles in front of me, no.
It was the roadway was relatively empty.
There was no cars.
And you didn't see a body then either, did you?
I did not.
And as you drive past that flagpole with everything lit up and everything in your peripheral vision, you still didn't see a body on that lawn, did you?
I did not.
Just explain it. Now, this one here, number 3, there's no explaining that. So I would love to hear what conspiracy is created to account for that.
Do you have a point of reference? Does that appear to be the interior camera facing the other direction where the SUV was depicted in the Sally Port earlier?
It's the opposite of what we had viewed earlier, diagonally across, I believe.
So this would be the right rear of the vehicle, correct?
That is correct.
Now I'd like to ask you to take a look at a video. Can you make out, now that that's paused, can you make out what's depicted toward the top of the screen?
Yes, it appears to be a distorted image of that antique police cruiser.
Okay. And does the area next to the police cruiser appear to be empty? Some snow on the ground?
Yes, it does. Actually, yes, it does look that way, yes.
Okay. So there's nothing next to the police cruiser, at least at this point, correct?
That's what it appears to be, yes.
Can we take a look at the timestamp on this document, or on this frame? I'd ask you to let the jurors know if you can see what the actual run time is on this.
I could see the timestamp. I don't know the runtime, what it's going to be.
It's 5:07:10 or 12, something like that?
That's the timestamp, yes.
Okay.
Yes, PM.
Now, if we could just play this forward, go back to full screen. Pause. Now, how many seconds would you estimate, just in your head, just went by in real time?
Approximately 5 seconds.
Okay. Do you see something in the video now?
Yes.
What is that?
It appears to be the seized Lexus SUV.
And now let's look at the timestamp. What time is that?
5:47 p.m.
So in about, according to your testimony, in about 5 seconds, the time jumped from before the SUV was in the Sally Port to about 5:50 p.m. after the SUV had already arrived and is now situated in the Sally Port, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
The time frame that we just saw earlier, of about 5:35, 5:36 or so, with you and, with the tow truck driver and Michael Proctor in the video. That is not in this video. It's not captured in this video, was it?
It did not present itself, no.
43 missing minutes. Before her car arrived, the video was cut from 5:07 to 5:50. Why was that cut? I'm not trying to say that was the time they were breaking the taillight and trying to get evidence to plant. That's not what I'm saying. I just want to know, why was there 43 missing minutes? Why was that cut out? Why was Proctor around the taillight? Why was he being very suspicious? Why is there parts of the film that look like it's been cut, it's been tampered with, people just mysteriously appearing and it's like, oh, it was cut, that's bad edited?
Yes.
And watch him as the tow truck driver walks by. Did he appear to move?
He shifted weight, yes.
And it appears that there's another person that showed up in the footage, an anomaly of some sort, walking off screen left to right. Is that right?
That's what it appears, yes.
Is Mr. Proctor still at the right rear taillight area?
He's in that general vicinity, yes.
Let's go ahead and play it forward. A little bit further. Pause. Can you see anything in his hand? Let me just ask it closed in. Do you see the portfolio in his hand?
It would not be unlikely that it's there, but I can't tell exactly what it is in his hand.
Let's play it forward. Do you see anything in his hand now as his arm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it appear to be consistent with the black portfolio that we saw earlier?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Let's move forward. And he is now off screen, correct?
Can somebody answer for that? 43 missing minutes before the car arrived. That film is taken out. Please, if you think she's guilty, and I would love to think she's guilty. I don't want somebody spending their life in prison who's innocent. So if you can prove to me she's guilty, oh yeah, I would feel better. If for some reason the judge doesn't allow what she should allow, so the jury could see like, wait, there's a lot of reasonable doubt here. And it seemed as if they're trying to frame her. So please, if you can explain it, I would love for you to do that. Number four, Brian Higgins spoke to Matt McCabe or Albert, whoever. I don't remember who he spoke to. That doesn't even matter. 5 minutes before that mysterious Google search was made. How long for a body or a person to die in the cold?
So the fact is, you were speaking to Brian Albert in the middle of the night, approximately 3 hours before Mr. O'Keefe's body was found in his yard, correct?
No, that's not correct.
And that was 5 minutes before 2:27 a.m. when there was a Google search for how long to die in the cold, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
And then, of course, you lied about that under oath in that prior proceeding by saying, I don't remember this phone call.
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you, in fact, tell the truth at the prior proceeding when you said, I don't remember that phone call?
I always tell the truth.
Did you lie under oath, sir?
No, I did not.
Would you tell us if you did?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You acknowledge that there's a 22-second phone call in your phone records, correct?
That's what's reflected by the record.
And 22 seconds is quite an amount of time. Would you agree?
It's 22 seconds.
As a matter of fact, it's about this long, with the court's permission.
The court does not give permission. That's argument, Mr. Jackson.
If we were to count off 22 seconds, that's an uncomfortably long time, is it not?
No,
It's long enough to have a conversation, isn't it?
I didn't have a conversation.
Is 22 seconds long enough to have a conversation?
No.
A human being can't have a conversation in 22 seconds?
Sure they could. I don't think it's anything of substance.
Okay, so that's my question. Is it 22 seconds long enough to have a conversation?
I don't agree with it, no.
5 minutes prior to that Google search taking place, he was on the phone. He claims he was asleep. His phone was next to him. His phone has Face ID or whatever. So there was no way it could have been touched. Nobody's in his house. So why was there a call 5 minutes prior to that Google search? Why? How long before you die in cold? Why is that? How could that be? Can somebody answer for that? Brian Higgins was on the phone prior to that? Please, please, please tell me, why was he talking to them 5 minutes before that? I would love to know.
Now, when you were asked about this and you were shown these records, that prior hearing, you had an explanation for what that 22-second call may have been and what the prior call may have been, correct?
Yes.
What was your explanation?
Well, I used a phrase that people commonly used as a butt dial.
So you think it's possible that you may have butt dialed Brian Albert for a 22-second call that you're not aware of?
I think it's possible that he could have been inadvertently called back, but I have no recollection of that, nor did I have any conversation with anybody.
But you admitted that you lived alone, correct, Mr. Higgins?
That's correct.
You have an iPhone at the time. You already indicated under oath that you don't sleep with your iPhone. You keep it on your bedside table. Is that right?
Most often, yes.
There's nobody else in your room. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you had your ringer on because you were awakened the next morning by a call from Chief Berkowitz, right?
Yes, the ringer was on.
When somebody calls you and you miss the call, there's a notification that shows up on that iPhone. Isn't that right?
I don't know how mine's set up at the time. I don't know.
If you open up your phone app and you go to recents, it shows all the missed calls, correct?
I think you can get to them, yes.
And you know that the iPhone does not automatically call people back. That is not a thing, right? You miss a call from someone, it's not just going to automatically re-ring them.
Yes, I think we both know that, yes.
So in order to call somebody back, if you've missed a call, you first have to unlock your iPhone.
You would have to, yes.
You can do that either through Face ID or through a 4 or 6 digit passcode, right?
Yes.
Don't tell me the code, but did you have a 4 or a 6 digit passcode locking your iPhone at the time?
I don't know if it was a digit code or Face ID.
Well, if you have a Face ID, you have to have a digit code as well, right?
I guess so.
Okay. Did you open your phone with your Face ID or a multi-digit code?
I have no recollection of answering the phone or calling anybody back.
You also have to navigate, once the phone is unlocked, you have to navigate to the phone app, correct?
I don't know necessarily if you unlocked it with your face, if it would be right there. I've never thought about it.
Once you unlock that phone app, you have to manipulate the phone on the screen with your finger in order to make a call, correct?
You would have to hit at least one button, I guess.
At least one, right?
Yes.
So that's 3 or 4 interactions with the phone that have to be physically undertaken to just make one call, right?
But I didn't make any calls.
So how'd you butt dial?
I didn't make any calls. I have no recollection of any calls, nor did I speak with anybody.
After you were shown these phone records at that prior hearing, in that hearing at least, you finally admitted that you did in fact call Brian Albert back, but this time you claimed the two of you just sort of sat in silence. Isn't that right?
Objection.
So I'm going to sustain it in that form. You can ask it appropriately, Mr. Jackson.
Did you ever previously testify that you did in fact make the call, but you did not have a conversation during the course of the call?
What I think I testified was something must have happened, but I didn't have any phone call.
Do you remember being asked, quote, did you call him back, end quote, and you answered, yes. And then there was a question.
There was a series of questions there. That's only a fragment of what I said.
I'm not done yet, Mr. Higgins. Can you answer my question?
Yes.
To the question, did you call him back? Your answer was yes, correct?
I think it was kind of I must have.
And lastly, this one right here. This ties everything together. Number 5. It was always number 5 for me. But a spiritual awakener confirmed that I should use it because it was sent like, you know what? This happened. You should check this out. Shouts out to Micro Dots. This video, I'm going to take pieces from it because you should check out the video yourself. I don't want to take any credit or any airplay from this person. The links will be in the description. Micro Dots, thank you. Thank you. But check it out.
Let's watch again, looking closer, and try to determine what exactly is happening. Brian Higgins is looking in John's direction. Chris Albert says something to sister-in-law, Nicole, as she steps towards the door. Daughter Caitlin Albert is closest to the exit. Brian Albert enters frame right. Brian and Nicole continue. We see Higgins focused, like a laser beam on John. And Chris Albert's attention has now shifted directly onto Higgins, appearing to sense what he is about to do. Higgins goes to raise his arm and shout to the victim, but before he can even bring it above his waist, Chris Albert aggressively grabs his forearm, preventing it from happening. The significance of Chris Albert's actions cannot be overstated. They reveal clear prior knowledge, an unmistakable anticipation of hostility directed towards John. There is simply no other valid way to explain how Chris would know what Higgins was about to do before he did it. I'm not suggesting anyone intended to kill John, only that there had to have been prior discussion, if not some form of coordinated plan to confront him.
Ooh. It ties everything in. Why was Brian Higgins so, mad? Why did he feel so angered? Why was he sitting there shouting things towards the bar?
Like I am private. Don't talk out of school with what I do or who I hang with. Do I aggravate you? Haha, no. According to John, you may occasionally talk out of school. He said that about me? But that's none of my business. With respect to what exactly? None of my biz. So then why invite me to your house party? Now I am aggravated.
For the ones that think he's guilty, I just want to know, did Chris Albert know Don't worry, we're going to handle this, but you can't be on camera acting like this. You're trash right now. Calm down. Let's make it seem like we're all cool. Once he gets to the house, we got this. So it's like, calm down. And if you look at the other Albert was more so like, hey, let him do what he do. We own this city. Like, we own it. So, hey, do what you got to do. Because you want to seem tough in front of Karen, do it. Even though she's not even paying attention to you, do what you got to do, my guy.
Now is a crucial moment to remind you. It's 11:58 p.m. In about 30 minutes, John will be fatally injured. Cue the tape. Higgins is desperately trying to get John's attention, but John still has his back turned. By the time John turns to look, Higgins has shifted his gaze to Brian Albert, likely pointing at Brian while telling John to go to his home at 34 Fairview Road. Then, as Higgins turns back toward John, he sees that John has already looked away, prompting Higgins to abort the next hand gesture he was just about to make. Higgins looks and sees members of the band carrying equipment out, then steps back to give them space to pass. Then, he finally makes direct eye contact with John. He points outside, telling John to come to Brian Albert's home. His posture rigid, and each motion he makes is laced with tension. John says something back to him, then glances over to Matt, who seems to have also witnessed the interaction. Consider how determined Higgins was to deliver the message to John. He endured a tense confrontation with Chris Albert, made multiple unsuccessful attempts to catch John's attention, and deliberately lingered behind the rest of his group, refusing to leave until he was absolutely certain the message had been received. Karen and Karina were so deeply engaged in conversation that they remained completely unaware of everything that had just unfolded around them. John is smiling. Whatever message Higgins was trying to send, it clearly didn't land with the weight he intended. John appears relaxed and confident, an important detail, as this reflects his mindset just before he would enter 34 Fairview Road.
Like, why would he talk shut about me? Because we all like you. Everyone does. Geesh. You just said he talked shit about me. He wasn't talking shit at all. He always says how much he likes you. Just mentioned Brian does all right for himself. He has not said one negative thing about you ever. I just didn't think you were that private, that's all. I am about a lot of things. Don't be so sensitive. I am good. Oh, geez. Are your panties in a twist now? Stop.
I would love for someone who thinks she's guilty to explain, why was he that angry? Why was he that animated towards the bar? Right before John O'Keefe's life was taken. And everything points to Brian Higgins. I hear a lot of talk about it's Colin Albert, and that's the reason Jen McCabe is actually putting herself in this situation where, hey, Miss McCabe, that's perjury. In case you don't know that. I don't know how long you're going to sit in prison. I don't know. But what you're doing is allegedly perjury, and you're going to spend time in prison. For Colin Albert? So does that mean Colin Albert helped Brian Higgins? They jumped John O'Keefe? Is that what you're making it seem like? John O'Keefe does not look like a person who needed to be jumped, especially by Brian Higgins, who has like 100 pounds over him. This guy was in lust for Karen Reed, someone who has issues, who craves attention. You were lusting after her. What's wrong with you? You got that little pretty haircut. You think you're like macho. So you're at the bar acting like a tough guy. What's wrong with you? Sat there, allegedly took the man's life because you wanted his girl, because you wanted to make her happy. I just want somebody who thinks she's guilty to tell me how can you explain those situations? How? And I was on that side. 51% of me was like, nope, she's guilty. Probably more than 51%. I just don't know, so I just leave it at 51%. But I am not a fool. I sat there, I looked at everything, and I'm like, wait, no. She is not guilty. She's guilty for flirting with this guy. This baboon really felt a certain way, and he felt like he had ownership over her. That's what I feel like. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's how I feel. And a man lost his life. A mother didn't get to Whew. His nephew was uncontrollable because he was not home the night John left, and he understands he will never see him again. He understands it. I will never see him again. He will never see him again. He understands that. Just please explain to me, how did those things happen? Why did those things happen? If you can explain that to me, please. Just saying she's guilty, make it seem as if the McCabe's, the Alberts, and all the other fools sat there and created a lot of Google and YouTube and whatever profiles and sitting there trying to find everything that goes against him. Just, she's guilty, as if that's gonna make us who have brains feel like, you know what, she is guilty. You cannot think she's guilty. There's people on the West Coast trying to school us on the East Coast as if we don't know how corrupt it is out here. I've been living in New England since 2000, I believe, 1918. And I know it's corrupt. So I would love someone who thinks she's guilty to explain to me, please, in the comment section, do more than just say she's guilty. Tell me why she's guilty. Explain those situations. Explain why John O'Keefe's iPhone says he had to have been inside the house. What was he? Running around Karen Reed's car until she hit him? That's what he was doing? Even though Nagel didn't see him? Even though Maxon didn't see him? Nobody saw him except the... This video is long enough. But RIP to John O'Keefe. RIP to John O'Keefe. And once again, condolences to anyone who loves him, who knows him, knew him, or who is affected by this. Condolences. And these people, all of them, everyone that sat there testified, should sit in prison for the rest of their life. That's how I feel. I know it's harsh. That's what I want from them. The rest of their life in prison. Each and every one of them. So, share the video so, you know, people could know. People could stop talking as if they even know. I wasn't out there spreading comments and this and that when I didn't really do research. I just stated how I felt. Is I need more evidence. That's it. Give me more evidence and I'll go one way or the other. And I found my evidence. I just hope you enjoyed what you saw, because she's not guilty. She's not. She's being framed.
Hold up.